Well, since we're late, let's just jump right into things. Let's talk Ole Miss, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one, Cole, just because I have never been a bigger, since I don't really have anything to cheer for the rest of the season with my team, I've never been a bigger Ole Miss fan in wanting Lane to win as many games as possible to keep him in the playoff conversation and then ultimately in the playoff for very obvious reasons, keeping him out of Gainesville being number one. Are they going to get it done this week? I'll let you take over.
They could. I mean, I will not be the one to doubt Lane Kiffin when his back is against the wall, especially in a game that you know that you have to have because of this is what the beauty of a 12-team college football playoff and a competitive SEC and a Big Ten is. It's a playoff game before a playoff game. That's what we're going to get on Saturday. It is a preview of what the playoffs are all about. And it's two teams that really need this win. Neither is knocked out of the playoff conversation. If they run the table for the rest of the season, they'll be 10-2. There'll be an argument that they belong in the postseason picture. But getting a win in this matchup, massive. What version of John Mateer do we actually see take the field on Saturday? Because what we witnessed against South Carolina was one that responded after a horrendous performance against Texas in the Red River Shootout, but it was manageable. It was sustainable. You were able to do just enough to get the job done, and you were able to establish a run game for really the first time since the Temple matchup. Are we going to see more from him? That's a Ben Arbuckle question. Ben Arbuckle was brought into Norman, Oklahoma to be able to bring this offense to new life and win these type of big games. You are going up against a very underwhelming run defense of Ole Miss. Ole Miss this year is in the hundreds when it comes to defending the ground game. So can you use your advantages that you saw last week against South Carolina when it comes to Xavier Robinson, when it comes to what you got with Torrey Blaylock? And then can you get the usage of the legs of one Mr. John Mateer to be able to add more volume on the ground to create opportunities to win in second and short situations, to be able to open up the playbook on third down opportunities, to make sure that you're keeping Pete Golding guessing. This is one of those games to where we can look at the head coaches, but the coordinators of Pete Golding and Ben Arbuckle may tell you a bigger tale on who ends up coming out on top. You have a good defense. You have still one of the best defenses in the SEC, if not the best defense in the SEC. And certainly one of the best defenses in college football with Oklahoma having the home turf to be able to bail them out of trouble. They're number one they're number 3 in scoring. They're number 1 in total yards allowed. They're number 9 in explosive plays allowed. And if I'm not mistaken, they're also number 1 in pressure rate. So they do a good job of getting after quarterbacks. They do a good job of forcing offensive lines to have to rework things at halftime just to be able to keep them out of the backfield. And they've been able to consistently win at the point of attack, whether it be in tackles for losses, whether it be in short yardage situations, making offenses obsolete. Here's going to be the question that you got to ask yourself if you are Brent Venables. Can you get this offensive line to break? Because I don't know if you know this or not, but Ole Miss has only allowed 9 sacks this year. They are a team that does not allow their quarterback to get hit often. And Trinidad Chambliss is a quarterback that is not afraid to tuck and run. There are design plays for him that are going to be utilized to where he sees an opening through the A-gap. He's going to step on up and deliver for a gain of 6, gain of 7, and that could create really opportunistic chances for this offense to be able to put up points. They also are an explosive team. The thing that people do not pay attention enough to when it comes to Ole Miss is that they may not have one legit number 1 receiver. You know what they do have? They have 3 guys that can all win across the middle of the field for 15 plus yards. Deuce Alexander, Jajon Stribling, you throw in Harrison Wallace. I throw Daquan Wright in, the tight end. There have been multiple opportunities to where if you give them the ball in space, they will not only beat you because of their speed, but they will also beat you because of great route running and the ability to win at the point of attack that creates first down drives and big plays down the field that gives you more of a balance, approach when it comes to Lane Kiffin's play style. But the other thing that's going to be interesting here is that last week, the run game by Georgia really got after Ole Miss's defense. You want to know what didn't get after Georgia's defense? The run game for Ole Miss. Ole Miss's leading rusher was Trinidad Chambliss. And yeah, Keelan Lacey had 2 rushing touchdowns, but both were set up by explosive plays through the air inside the red zone at like the 3 and 4 yard line. So when you're going up against a defense like Oklahoma, there is an opportunity to make this offense one-dimensional. And we saw last week, especially in the fourth quarter, hey, you are going to beat a Trinidad Chambliss through the air. You're going to have to be able to get those strikes downfield to one of your wide receivers. And that's the only way that we're going to give you an opportunity to win this football game. That becomes the game plan for Oklahoma, where they take away the ground and pound attack. This may end up being a reason why, hey, John Mateer may have a B- performance, But B's get degrees, and B certainly can get your wins against an against an Ole Miss team that maybe feels like it peaked a little bit too early, and now it's coming back down to reality of a 9-3, 8-4 season ahead.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Just want to quickly give some love to our friends over at Sleeper. Make sure that you have the Sleeper app downloaded. On Wednesday, we will play the More or Less game on the Power 2 Live. Hopefully, you can make some money with us. If you do up to 100% deposit using our code CFA, you will get a 100% match. But if you don't want to deposit, we have a free $20 play for you. You don't need to pay anything. Just get your free $20 play on the Sleeper app. Use our code CFA. The link in the description will auto-populate it. Make some money with us. Check their terms and conditions because terms are used to apply. Now back to the video.
The most that Oklahoma has given up this year in a win is 17 points. And I think, Cole, you and I can agree that the Red River Shootout is kind of a bizarro world, and losing that game by 23-6 against Texas. It's not saying you don't throw that performance out, but you almost do.
It's an outlier.
It's an outlier. Yeah, it's an anomaly. Meanwhile, Ole Miss, the least they've scored at any point this season is 24 points. This is an Ole Miss team that can score points on virtually anyone. And the fact that they took Georgia down to the wire, yes, they let it go there. I think they lean too much on the passing game to all the points that you just touched on. They just don't have it when it comes to running the football. They haven't in a couple years now at this point. And that's a real problem for Lane Kiffin and company. I think this is going to be tight. I still favor Ole Miss. I think this being on the road, it's going to set up Brent Venables and that defense to put together a great game plan against Chambliss. Like there's been enough tape now on Trinidad Chambliss that you should know how to play him. And if you basically just give them the invitation to run the football, you should be able to win if you're Oklahoma. But this really does feel like kind of a coin toss to me, a coin flip that is, in terms of how the game ultimately finishes. But if you're Oklahoma, I think there's far more pressure. You have number 8 Ole Miss. You're at number 17 Tennessee. You're at number 4 Alabama. You're home against number 15 Mizzou, and then you're home against number 20 LSU. I think the ultimate pressure on Oklahoma to have to win out the rest of the year is pretty significant. I don't think they have to win out to make the college football playoff, but you're going to drop a handful of games here in the next few weeks. It's inevitable, and I don't think they're better than Tennessee, Alabama, and maybe Mizzou. I think that's going to be a coin flip as well. LSU, I would take Oklahoma at that point. But the schedule is awful for Oklahoma. It's really favorable for Ole Miss the rest of the way. So this feels like a situation where Ole Miss trying to get up from the Georgia game, Lane Kiffin trying to block out the noise of, is he going to Florida? Is he going to Penn State? Is he leaving in general? All that sort of stuff. I think Ole Miss pulls this one out. I think it's going to be close. It's going to be lower scoring than what you normally see out of Ole Miss, but they're still going to be able to put up points. They're still going to be able to do what Ole Miss does in this game. So, TJ, I don't know how you feel about this one, but this is one of the more interesting matchups of the weekend.
Yeah, the spread is interesting to me. Cole, I don't know if you have a take here or not on this, but is it still 5.5? I know it's fluctuating.
I think it moved down slightly to 4.5. I mean, it's not. It's less than a touchdown.
So that makes a little bit more sense. It moving down some, and Vegas knows, right? Like I hate to doubt Vegas because they'll win this thing by 6, and I'll be like, well, there you go. But it just feels like to me, I have a lot of confidence in Ole Miss. Should they? And I know Oklahoma's defense is better, but just the way they performed, short of that minus the fourth quarter, when Georgia really locked down and Ole Miss kind of ran out of answers, it feels like, man, they went on the road. Not to doubt Norman, but I don't think Norman is going to be quite. They've been to a similar road atmosphere just a week ago, performed fairly well, answered the bell there, started quickly, and moved the ball well. And I know that Oklahoma's defense is better. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know, even with Oklahoma's defense being better, I don't know that they can score enough unless Oklahoma really can turn it on and kind of revert back to maybe how they were earlier in the year. But even then, I don't know if they were impressive enough. Now, defense wins championships, but do they win individual matchups? At times, yeah, they do. I like Ole Miss too here. And again, pressure is a big deal because even if they lose this, it would be pretty surprising to see them lose any of the rest of their games. I know they've got the rivalry game at the end of the year, and that always kind of gets weird on a Friday at 11 local time. Florida beat them last year. So, yeah, could they do it again this year with the interim coach? Maybe. But the pressure is definitely there on Oklahoma. But I kind of lean Ole Miss too. I don't know if I have a score or not, but Cole, I'll get your final thoughts and then we'll predict it.
There's two things that you need to know in this game. The rushing number of yards for each quarterback, I think, is the most important stat. Whoever is the quarterback that gains more yards with their legs, because if there are design runs for John Mateer and there are design runs for Trinidad Chambliss, I think he's probably going to win the football game. That's just my 2 cents on it. The other thing is I want Oklahoma fans to remember this number, 72. Here's why I say 72. Because last week, Georgia ran 80 plays on Ole Miss's defense. They scored on all 8 drives, 80 plays. Most teams that run 80 plays against you, your defense is going to break at some point. Yeah. You're not going to be able to survive constant overall opportunities of second chances when it comes to the rushing attack or explosive plays downfield. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you. And all it takes from the opposing sideline is 1 3 and out, which Georgia got, and your defense is exhausted. It's unable to catch its breath. It's unable to kind of play with their hands on their legs. And so I look at number 72. Can you run 72 offensive plays against Ole Miss's defense in your own backyard and do just enough when it comes to the ground and pound attack with John Mateer and your 2 running backs to be able to force this team to throw it all in the box, and then maybe you take a shot downfield, whether it be Isaiah Satanga, maybe it's Deion Burks, maybe it's Jared Kanik, maybe it's a wide receiver that we haven't even talked about just yet, and that ends up being the final score. I really want to not make this happen because of it. When I say it, it's going to mean that they're winning this football game. But I also think Ole Miss gets the job done. I think this is going to be a 28-24 finish, and I think that now that means Oklahoma's going to win because we all just took Ole Miss.
Well, sorry about that, Ole Miss, but I'm picking you too. I'm going 27-20, Ole Miss. I need to see more from Oklahoma's offense. I know Ole Miss's defense is not elite by any means. I know Georgia scored on every drive, but I just don't have enough faith in them. So Ole Miss 27-20 on the road.
I commend John Mateer for coming back as quickly as he did. I don't think he's okay. I don't think he's healthy. He putting everything on the table for this last go round, and this is the biggest opportunity of his college career. I get it, but he's not himself. He's not the guy that we thought was going to win the Heisman a handful of weeks ago. Give me Ole Miss 27-24, Oklahoma covering the spread.
No, Oklahoma's the favorite, aren't they? Cole went on mute.
Oklahoma's favorite, yeah.
Oklahoma's favorite? Oh, never mind. Ole Miss covers the spread. Excuse me.
I was like, wait a minute. Now that spread made more sense to me. Although that one, I don't know if that would make sense either. So, all right. So we're all on Ole Miss. Sorry, Rebs. Sorry, Lane.